Yeah, it's mindset cafe, we all about that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits. No negative vibes, only positive thoughts.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. It's your boy Devin, and today we got a special guest. We got Chancellor Jackson with us. He is a best-selling author. He is an educator, a football coach, and he is an inspiration to a lot of entrepreneurs. He was born and raised in Georgia, but Chancellor's journey has taken him in a dramatic turn and dramatic, twists throughout, and he's traveled abroad and spent some time in China. Where some interesting stories have happened. So we'll dive into those. I don't want to, ruin that. We'll dive into a little bit of those things, but we'll dive into some of his books and the reasons he's wrote them and some of the things that he coaches as well. Cause I think his journey alone speaks testaments to how mindset can help you, propel you, and, keep you moving forward on your journey to success. But without further ado, Chancellor, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hop on.
Hey man, Devin, blessings and balance to you. Appreciate you for having me on. Big shout out to everybody that's tuning in right now. Hey man, y'all the real MVPs, man. Appreciate you.
So, I mean, I always like to dive back a little bit and, talk about your upbringing, right? What was the path that led you to where you are now?
So grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, played football vast majority of my life. So that was a huge component to shaping the identity of me, and I still identify as that to this day. At least it is a part of my identity. But played football all through high school. Got the opportunity to play in college 4 years down at Stetson University. Once I graduated from Stetson, I landed my first job teaching English to kids in China. So I moved to China fresh out of college. I was supposed to do a year, only ended up doing 6 months before things were left, and I was arrested and served 14 days in the Beijing penitentiary. Once I was released from jail, I was immediately deported from the country, came back to America, and I'm back to square one all over again, trying to figure this thing out. But just staying resilient, that led into me writing my first book, 14 Days in Beijing. I fell into coaching, continued to work in education since I already had my foot in it. And here we are, 6 years later, it was still at it, 4 books in that I've written myself. But I also published 2 additional books. I started my own publishing company in 2021. Helped 2 other people publish their books. Both their books were number 1. Now we coach people through the writing and publishing process. Continue to just drop the book last month, self-help book. So it was a completely different lane compared to my previous 3. Man, just keeping our foot on the gas, running a couple of different marathons for sure.
No, that's awesome. We're going to dive into each of those areas, but I mean, I do want to ask, like, from college, like, what led you to even move to China? I mean, that's, it's kind of a, not random, but it's not a usual journey path.
Correct. When football came to an end, just like the last game of my career, I was just like, it was, I wouldn't even say it was like bittersweet. Like, I was just full of gratitude because, like, this is something that I set out to do from the very start when I first started playing football, and I was like, I actually finished it. And it's like this chapter has closed and a new one is beginning, and it's a hell of one because I'm like, I don't know what's next. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who I am, what I like to do. I don't know anything. I just got to figure it out. So from that, it was just, I just got to just put myself out there, try a bunch of different things, and I figure out what it is. That's going to be, my next footballs to say. So I started applying for jobs. I was mainly applying for corporate positions. I'm landing interviews. Some of these interviews I'm getting flown out for, put up in hotels, getting cars rented out to. I'm talking about the whole 9. But I kept getting told no, couldn't land a position. And I did this for about 8 months. I graduated. I'm back home in Georgia. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like, I did everything, quote unquote, the textbook way, and still getting the short end of the stick. It's like, we've been here before. You know what I'm saying? We was trying to find a college to go to. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't highly recruited out of high school. You know what I'm saying? Our team wasn't even the best team, nowhere near. So it's just like, I've been in that position before, just putting myself up there, marketing myself, trying to find a college to go to. So it's like, It's like, we've been here before. Might just keep throwing the reel out there. You're gonna catch something eventually. Just keep throwing the reel out there. And I was like, man, let's reapproach this job searching thing, because we've been attacking corporate. Clearly, corporate ain't for us, family. We'd had too many trials and errors. So it's like, let's look into other fields. It's like, what are you good at doing? Good at talking to people, working with people. So it's just think about just positions that relate to that. And for me, switching up my job searching, that's when I came across teach English to kids in China. So I was like, oh, okay, that sounds lit. I definitely wanted to do something extravagant. I wanted to do something that, you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody I know that's going to be doing once they graduate from college. So I applied, interviewed, and them folks hit me back. It's like, hey, we want to move forward with you as a candidate. So it's like, after 8 months of applying for jobs and being told no, the first job to tell me it's on the other side of the world. Ain't no about it. This is what we finna do. For sure. Let's do it.
So, I mean, with you, like, taking that job, like, do you know how to speak Chinese?
Well, it was a 3-month-long process from the date I got hired to the day I actually arrived in China. So within that 3 months, I took it upon myself to start learning a little bit of Mandarin. I didn't want to be out there and not know nothing. So I learned just enough to get around. I ain't having no full in-depth conversation with anybody. Like, nah, that's not happening. But I was able to move her for sure.
Did you use like one of those like apps or softwares like Duolingo or Rosetta Stone or something like that?
Mango, that's the name of it. Mango.
Okay. Okay, nice. So I mean, that's awesome. So you moved out to China. You know, you started this new job, and you know, then there comes this 14 days in prison, right? Or jail? What was that? You know, what was the reason, and what was that experience like? You know, because being in jail, obviously, that's definitely an experience. But being in jail in a foreign country, like that's even one of my fears, like going to Mexico, right? You know, like you can't, the government can't save you.
Yeah, facts. So it's April 4th, 2019. It's a day off for me. Getting ready to head to a team building my company's hosting. So I'm be meeting colleagues that I know and colleagues that I don't know, you know what I'm saying, that work within the company as well. It's just a big little networking event. We're just going to do something fun. So like, I'm a pregame before I go. So I'm in the apartment by myself, drinking a little Chinese wine cooler, smoking a little cannabis. I get done, get dressed, make sure I got everything I need before I walk out the door, and I hear a knock. And guests aren't unfamiliar, so I go to the peephole, look through the peephole, and there's the 3 officers from the Beijing police. I was like, oh yeah, I'm spooked at this point, so scramble, put everything up, open the door, they walk in, they question me about drugs. I'm sitting here playing a fool, like I don't know what they talking about. Then they end up drug testing me right there on the spot. After that, once they put the drug test out, I say, yeah, it's over with. So do the drug test, the results come back instantly. You know what I'm saying? Now the cuffs on me, all forms of communication cease to exist at this point. Now I done bounce around from precinct to precinct. So I'm eventually taken to the jail where I'm housed, and I'm locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 men to one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day, and all I had was a plastic bowl and a plastic spoon. Nothing was explained to me as far as what my specific charges are, how long I'm going to be here. Nobody knows I'm in there, and I'm in the cell with 14 other Chinese men, none of which I can talk to. It ain't looking too good right about now, but one, I got to hold myself accountable. Accountability. I knew the choices I was making, and I knew the repercussions from them. So now that things have hit the fan, and here we are, and I got to take this to the chin. However, it's finna come. However they finna swing, I got to be able to prepare to bob and weave. But I remember telling myself I know I'm going to be good when it's all said and done. Like, whatever I'm going to have to go through, I'm going to have to go through. But when I get to the end, I'm still going to be me. So with that being said, take note of every minor detail, because this is going to be a great story to tell once you're out of this predicament. And most important, enjoy this high one last time, because we don't know what we finna go through. So, but
that's crazy. So I guess side question. So cannabis is, I guess, illegal, like even in your own home?
Oh yeah, whatsoever. Yeah, it's zero tolerance.
Oh wow. Okay. So I mean that's crazy though, because getting locked up and, not knowing the language, I mean, there's probably a thought in your head at that point. You're like, man, I probably should have spent a little more time on that app, right? You're just like, you're like, damn, I should have not watched that episode and spent a little bit more time learning the language. But what was going through your head like when you're in the cell, not being able to communicate? Because one, obviously that's lonely, but two, when people are yelling at you and telling you to do stuff, or they're speaking Mandarin and you can't understand them, like, was that mental thought train of just like, what are they saying? Are they going to do something? Like, going through your head? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like the first 3 days, I was the only foreigner, only English speaker in the cell. So of course everybody, they brought me in throughout the night. They always bring in new inmates throughout the night. So once morning come, they wake everybody up for roll call and all that stuff. Of course, I'm the new face in the room. So everybody, all the attention is on me. And of course, throughout the day, everybody and their mama was trying their best to communicate with me. But just because of the language barrier, we just couldn't. But they was chilled up. Like, they was just, you can tell they was just excited and curious to have a person of color in the room. And, you know what I'm saying? They just want to talk to you, but it's like, we can't. But it was one I was able to communicate with. Even though we couldn't communicate verbally, like we just communicating through body gestures and miming things out. But me and him got real close. I ended up learning a lot about this man just from that form of communication, which was very powerful. So me and him got real close. And then, but aside from talking to him every now and again, it was just sitting there, just a lot of time to reflect. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we make time to reflect about our days or just about our journeys up until this point or whatever, but it's not an allotted amount of time. Like, I had a full 72 hours to sit there and solely reflect on everything. You know what I'm saying? The entire journey up into China, and then everything I was doing in China, like, just, and what to do once I get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to brainstorm of what can I, you know what I'm saying? How can I bounce back from this? So this is like a lot of time to reflect. So, be with oneself, solitude. That's really what it was. It's it's something that we should all experience in some form or facet, because you know what I'm saying, you get comfortable being yourself within yourself. So that's pretty much the first 3 days, and then on day 4, I moved to a new cell, and in that new cell, I'm amongst other English speakers. 2 of them were one was from California. He was a Chinese American. The other one was Brazilian from Brazil. And the third dude, he was Russian from Russia, but he didn't speak English. So I could communicate with him through the other 2 because they was fluent in Mandarin and English. So now, not only can I talk to them, I can talk to everybody in the cell. So you learn about, now I can really communicate. You know what I'm saying? You learn about everybody here, what their backgrounds are, different walks of life. It's a great story. It's a great story. Sure.
No, that's crazy. And I mean, the one key thing too that I think that was so important is, like, you're in your first cell, right? The guy that you made the connection with, like, showing you the power of communication, not just verbally, right? I think that's what a lot of people get hung up on, is like thinking that they need to be able to speak a certain way or talk. It's like your body language says more than you think, right? Like, if I'm telling you something, and I'm like, even in my business, like, I teach my team, like, you should be listening with your eyes, right? You're watching them as you're speaking, and if they turn, if they kind of cringe, if they, like, you got to realize those are all things of communication that they're not controlling as well, right? And so your ability to connect with someone just off of body language is like a huge testament of your body language is important.
Thanks. Yeah. It was powerful. You'll read about him in the story. It's like, I refer to him as my Chinese brother. Like, he gave me that name. Hey, I'm your Chinese brother. I said, all right, for sure. Look. But he didn't verbally say that. You know what I'm saying? The fact he was able to communicate that to me, it's crazy. Like, you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about him when you read the story.
No, that's awesome. So, you get out, right? And now what happens?
They take me straight to my apartment to pack up the rest of my things, and then from my apartment straight to the airport, where I go to stay, and I hop on a flight back to America. So I was deported from the country immediately. I was placed on a 5-year ban, but that's pretty much the only punishment I had. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't write this book, nobody would know this had happened to me. Like, it doesn't follow me anywhere. Like, I'd have made it popular. So, you know what I'm saying? For sure, it's a blessing at the same time.
No, definitely. It's definitely it adds character and everything to your story, but two, it's authentic, right? And I feel that people, especially now, only want to show their highlight reel, and they don't want to show the in the trenches, right? And sometimes in the trenches are the mishaps, right? Of being locked up in Beijing for 2 weeks, right? Even though you learned a lot and you did a lot, like some people wouldn't want to portray themselves in a way, but realizing that when you do that, like that was one of the reasons that I wanted you on the show, right? It's like those are the things that connect people and let us know that you are a real person, that stuff doesn't just always go right with you, because it doesn't go always right with me, and that's life.
Exactly. Adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman to herself.
100%. Oh, 100%. I love that. And so now that you're back in the US and stuff, and that's you, when you were in the cell, is that when you realized you were going to write, or like, did you get back and were you kind of job hunting and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to publish a book? Like, what was your next steps?
Great question. The whole time in the cell, I was just like, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to lose my job once I get out of here. But I'm like, I know I could still be able to do this English teaching thing to Chinese kids online, because I heard about people doing it before. So I'm like, I know I can do it online once I get back to America. So I'll just be able to do that until I can find something else. And I'm like, I need to link up with my partner, DeMarco. Like, I just felt it in my spirit. I'm like, I got to link up with him for sure. Because I'm already know we're going to sit back, we're going to chop it up, we're going to powwow. And the way his brain operates, he going to figure out a way to monetize anything. You know what I'm saying? So me and him was kicking it that same summer, 2019. And he was a traditionally published author before we graduated high school in 2014, just a little context of him. So he was like, hey, bro, you think about writing a book about the experience? I was like, that's a good idea. I don't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying? What to do, but that's a good idea, because I knew I wanted to do something with the story. I just didn't know how I wanted to go about sharing it. So he took it even further. He took my phone, went to my notes, left me a little outline. And I just started filling it in. And by me filling in the outline, I caught a feel for how I wanted to tell the story. So moved it to a Google Doc. It took me about 4 months to write it, and then spent the next 6 months getting it ready for publishing. So I got locked up in China on April 4th, 2019. The very next year, calendar year, April 4th, 2020, I dropped the first version of 14 Days in Beijing and was ranked. I went #1 new bestseller in 3 different genres upon debut and while I was still on pre-order. So, yeah, it was
nice.
very much, and it was just a snowball effect after that.
That's awesome. So, I mean, that's a huge testament. I mean, and congratulations for that, because it's not easy to write in a book, let alone writing it in a short time span like that, because that takes a lot of discipline to really hone down and get your thoughts going, especially with all the distractions in a daily experience that one can have. I mean, so your first book was the 14 Days, right? And so you've written 3 other books since. What did you dive in on those ones with?
So the next 2 are a saga, a 2-books story. But all 3 books, including 14 Days, tell one long story. So they're a trilogy. So you got 14 Days Beijing. The next 2 are romance. So I jumped into a whole nother genre with the next 2. So we dive in romance. And the first book is You Love, You Learn, and Real Love Never Dies. But like I said, all 3 books tell one long story. You Love, You Learn is pretty much the prequel. It takes you back to my last 2 years of college. And then Real Love Never Dies expands on me going into my senior year, completing that, trying to find a job. You know what I'm saying? Just telling that whole story. Then ended up in China, talked about a lot of what I was doing in China prior to 14 Days. And then 14 Days comes into play. And then Real Love Never Dies picks up after those 14 days. You know what I'm saying? What that summer. So it's all telling one long story. It's very, very juicy for sure. And what inspired that was just pretty much the same. My partner DeMarco, he was telling me from the beginning when 14 Days was going crazy, but you got to write the romance. I was like, I ain't trying to do that, bro. I'm not in the headspace. No, I'm trying to dig up all those emotions. I ain't even trying to do it. But it wasn't until I was taking a course on just publishing, just to expand my horizon more within the field. And they was talking about the best-selling genres. I'm like, okay, I already know went #1 in multiple over 15 times. So now they said romance is the best-selling genre. I took it as a challenge. As soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh, bet I'll hit cuz up." I said, "Hey, bro, send me an outline for the romance." They sent it to me. I wrote that thing about 2.5 weeks, like locked in, knocked that out. But I ain't dropped the book till like later on. But yeah, those are the next two, and then I just dropped a book last month. It's a self-help book. So you see, we were going around the carousel with the different genres. So we in the self-help, and it's titled "The Power of Becoming: 7 Pillars of Growth and Empowerment," and it's pretty much a book full of quotes and insight, depending on 7 core themes: love, discernment, success, happiness, adversity, healing, and confidence.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, in my opinion, it's tough to write a single book, let alone 4 books. And the trilogy is even more interesting to me because it's like, I bet with you, as you wrote your first book, then you're like, man, I don't want to touch on those same things and like write the same information just a different way. So you're having to reflect and analyze the different situations, the emotions and everything, especially with it being more of a self-like romance kind of, style book. So what was your writing process like, when you're having to reflect on those like personal and those traumatic events?
I'm just telling the true story. So it's like, really I make it simple. I create an outline. So I'm like, all right, I'm telling a true story. Where do I want this? Yo,
Yeah, I hear you now. I think you're frozen a little bit. There you go.
okay. Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened. The thing just completely refreshed.
So, I mean, I'll edit that part, a little bit. So, going like what right when you started to explain your process, you
Yeah,
kind of cut off right right when you started to explain.
so yeah, I just create an outline. So especially when you're telling a nonfiction story, a true story, um, where do you want the story to begin? That's the first bullet point. All right. Then what happened? What's the exact thing that happened next to the best of your memory? All right, boom, write that down. All right, what happened next? Boom. Just everything that happened in chronological order, just the bullet points of what happened. Then once you have those bullet points, now you go and expand under each one and just elaborate on what happened in the story. Um, and as you do that, more memories will start to unlock as you continue to go down these rabbit holes. And it's very therapeutic because it's like as men, we bottle up a lot of stuff. So it's like, this is an opportunity for me to truly release, put this on something else and put it out into the universe, really, and just get it out from my spirit. So it was very, very therapeutic at the same time, all 3 books, because it was very a traumatic time for me. This is a very adverse time, I would say that. Very adverse time.
Did you have any like emotional, I guess, emotional challenge, like, trying to convey it into words or, being that vulnerable, when opening up in the book, because as you're starting to reflect and really think about all those different things, like I'm sure emotional challenges started to surface. So like, what was your process like for kind of overcoming those or for being able to be vulnerable? Because like you said, guys, we don't really like to, show emotion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pushing through it. You know what I'm saying? It's like those that work out, you know what I'm saying? You push your body through physical limitations all the time, and you'll still give everything you got to try to get as many reps as possible. All right, take that same energy and apply it to, you know what I'm saying, the book or just telling the story. And then you want it to be good. You want it to be, put it all out there. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't got no communication with her whatsoever at this point. So it's like, it's fair game. So, and I knew what the objective was at the end of the day. We trying to top the charts in the romance genre. That's the end goal. That's the main objective. So it's like this is romance. This is what the ladies like anyway. So man, put it all out there for sure. I feel it's a safe space, honestly, and it's like, hey, to read this story at the end of the day. So you know what I'm saying? It ain't like it's just going in vain. You still get paid. You get paid for it, and it's something
Yeah,
that truly.
no, I like that. Sometimes like that flip in perspective of, thinking like, well, what are people going to think? And then it's like, well, they paid to listen. They paid to, it's like, what are they going to say? Like, oh, this, I can't believe you got vulnerable. Like, well, I can't believe you paid to listen to someone get vulnerable. It's like you flip the script, it's like, you just got to think of it that way. But I think it also shows a strength for those that are willing to reflect, because that is something that is not easy to do, to even not even put it out there. That's a whole nother level. But like, just to self-reflect within self and realize that you don't know everything. It's okay to feel inadequate in certain areas or whatever, but reflect on it and really dig deep and become better.
And eventually it's like everything we go through is a testament to who we will eventually become. So it's like once you get to your final version, your full potential, you're going to share your experiences with, it might be peers, it might be family members, grandkids, you know what I'm saying? You never know who you might verbally just share your stories with. So you're going to do it regardless. You're going to do it regardless. You're going to tell somebody. You ain't going to keep it all entirely about. You're going to tell somebody. So like, hey man, you might as well
No,
try to sell
100%.
it.
And I think your ability to, be vulnerable, right, but also be vulnerable with yourself and go through those, resurfacing of all that stuff, also allows you to build better connections with people, build better rapport, because everyone goes through, like we talked about in the beginning, and you being able to analyze yourself, you can put yourself in their shoes at any point and relate, right? So with that being said, what would your advice be to someone facing significant either personal or professional setbacks right now?
Hills are not mountains. And bad times don't last forever. Take everything with a grain of salt. Like relish and be grateful for the adversity. Growing pains. Know that all this thing is doing is molding you and making you better and preparing you for what's in store. So don't be discouraged. Don't let it discourage you. Don't let it diminish your spirit. Embrace it. Take it head on. Because once you make it to the end, you're gonna be laughing like a motherfucker. when it's all said and done. We always do. We be like, man, I don't see how I'm gonna get through this. And lo and behold, we always make it through. It's like we just look back on it, it's like it could be something that was a catalyst, or it could be just a phase that we went through. It just, you know what I'm saying, came and it gone, and we on to the next. You know what I'm saying? So everything boils down to perspective, how you choose to look at it.
I know, I love that. Now, what would your football coach answer be?
It's dark clouds on us, but that's perfect for us. Dark clouds on fog of war is when the true leader thrives.
No, like it's like it's funny because like a lot of us have like this second side to us, right? Like I love your ability to switch and give like the deeper meaning and connect, but then it's like you can see that side of you that's like there, and that can be a little bit harder, still deliver the same message in a different way, right? And that's where being an entrepreneur, being a coach, anything like that, like you have to have those masks, so to say, so that you can put on and change the tone, the personality, the connection, all that kind of stuff. So when I was saying, give me the football answer, like that was good. So I mean, with everything you got going on, right? You did launch a publishing company as well. What was the inspiration behind that? I mean, obviously you have your books, but now helping other people launch, and write and everything like that. Why go that route versus, a different route?
Self-publishing is the best route. I feel like when it comes to publishing books, like the traditional way, it's still active, and it's, you know what I'm saying, it's a route that you can take, but that's outdated in my opinion. It's a whole new way. This internet has changed the game. Internet has changed the game for everybody. So take advantage. So with the success of 14 Days in Beijing, I had a lot of people reach out to me, ask me questions geared towards writing a book, publishing a book. You know what I'm saying? Constantly. People ask me if I could help them and assist them, you know what I'm saying, or just give some pointers to them to, you know what I'm saying, get them through the process. And I'm like, I'm willing to work with any and everybody. I'm doing it. I'm working with everybody just off GP, off the strip. All the game I've acquired, I'm just, you know what I'm saying, giving it away. And a lot of people they was taking it, but wasn't doing nothing with it. It was only 2 people that actually digested what I was delivering, saw the process all the way through it. Not only were they able to publish their books, both of their books were #1 new bestseller in their own respective genres. First author, McKinney, his book, The Fatherless Child, his book went #1 in dramas and LGBTQ plus dramas and another genre. He was a 30-something-year-old dude. This story is pretty much about his experience growing up in rural Mississippi back in the 90s and how he was molested before the age 10 and how that situation shaped him. But, you know what I'm saying, progressed and, you know what I'm saying, shaped him into who he is today. Very, very powerful story. And then the other author, Tanisha Sattler, at the time she wrote her book, she was 15 years old. By the time she published it, 16. She went #1 in 2 different genres, and she was #1 for she had a spot for 9 straight days. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, shout out to high school. You know what I'm saying? She in high school. And all she did was just trust the process. And I made it very, very simple for her. So, and she was able to do it. So it was like, that let me know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. So it's like, we got to continue to keep our foot on the gas with this, but we got something on our hands. Not only can we coach you through the writing and publishing process, we publish bestsellers here at Full Publications LLC. I can attest to it, and my other 2 authors can attest to it as well. So it's like, yeah, we got to keep.
No, I think that's, and to what you said too about giving away the information, giving away all the tools and stuff, and only 2 people really taking action on it. Like it kind of goes into that whole idea of you have to have a little bit of buy-in to take action. Otherwise, they just take it. It's like, okay, cool, one day, but there was no cost to get the information, so it just doesn't feel like I need to do it. But if you pay for it, then it's like, oh, okay, well, man, I already paid for this. Like I need to make sure I get my money's worth, so to speak, right? And I think that's one of the big things too, is that I'm the same way. I love to give the information as much as possible, but it's like at the same time, are you just speaking to a wall? It's like sometimes you got to charge so that you can make sure that the person gets the value out of it.
Correct. Most definitely. It's a hard pill to swallow. I tell you that too.
No, definitely. So I'd like to ask one final question, right? And this I asked everyone. I know I didn't tell you it ahead of time because I want the first thing that pops to mind. But on your legacy wall, right? The Chancellor legacy wall, what is the one piece of advice that you would leave for up and coming generations that you've learned along your life's journey?
It'd be a quote from Nipsey Hussle. And the quote is, long-winded, running through this life like it was mine. Never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees to the path to my own self-destruction or success. But what is a mistake without the lesson? You see, the best teacher of life is your own experience, and none of us know who we are until we fail. They say every person is defined by their reactions to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you choose to do, homie, give your heart to it. Stay strong.
That's dope. I mean, that's powerful in itself. That is a huge legacy message right there for someone to take. And honestly, really, like I would almost challenge you, if you're listening right now, to rewind that and listen again, because it is more powerful if you really take it in for every word that was in that. Where can people connect with you and learn more about what you got going on with the publishing, but also just to follow you along with your journey?
Man, the best search engine we got, Google Chancellor K. Jackson. everything you need will pop up, from social media accounts to website, books, other podcast interviews I've done, the whole nine, everything you need, one-stop shop.
I'll make sure you guys, I'll put some of his social media links and everything in the show notes, but make sure you guys follow along, right? If you're thinking about writing a book, I can tell you firsthand, it is a great experience to go through. Chancellor's a testament to writing 4 books already. And, just because you don't think you have a story, don't think you don't have a message, I guarantee you do. Right. I guarantee your message, your journey, your life can help someone else if you're willing to get vulnerable, such as Chancellor's done already with the 14 days in Beijing. Right. Make sure you guys share this episode with a friend, though. And like always, make sure you guys leave that 5-star review. It does help other people follow us. But make sure you guys share this with an episode with a friend and help them bring them up on their journey. Because if you bring someone else on their journey, it helps bring up you as well. So with that being said, Chancellor, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on the Mindset Cafe and drop some knowledge.
I appreciate you, fam. Hey, everybody that tuned into the whole episode, what I tell you, you're a real one.
We'll talk soon.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts.